Okay. If you want to give me like a countdown, or unless you already just hit it and I
I
should just
just hit
start
it.
talking.
I just hit it.
Oh, why, hello everyone. Welcome to Gambletown. What is Ryan's version of Gambletown called? Like, I know he goes by Viscounts.
I thought it was
Let's see.
Gambleland.
Is it Gamblyland?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
Okay, the Viscounts.
Waleed is Gamblyland.
I am not Gamblyland.
Yes,
Oh,
you.
I am.
Yeah,
I
you
am.
are. Yeah. Don't try to
I am
lie.
Gamblyland. You're right.
It's
Because
already
it's way funnier to have a God Emperor of Gamblyland.
We'll do the People's Republic of Gambletown.
The People's
We formed a
Republic of.
coalition.
Yeah.
All right, talk to us. How we do last week, Waleed?
How did we do last week in the People's Republic of Gambletown? Oh, we did pretty well. We were 9-6 on the week, but we were 3-3 on parlays, and only one of us was able to win our millionaire bet, which is why we have a Viscount running the People's Republic of Gambletown. So if you took every one of our bets last week, you crushed. Like, you made so much money. You made a lot of money, and hell yeah. Over the last 4 weeks, we are 34-26. Tony's killing it. 14-6 over his last 4 weeks. Ryan has been struggling a little bit. He's 9-11.
Or forget.
Yeah, don't forget that. I'm 11-9. That 0-5 week did not do me any favors. But as a whole, we're doing all right here. Like, we're still on a weekly basis. We are profitable, and that's all that really matters.
I made up for it last week in my parlays. I didn't.
You 100% did.
Yeah. I got both my parlays and
my millionaire. Also, I feel like it's worth noting 5-0 last week.
Very nice.
Yeah. It went well. And
go ahead.
I think it's time. I think it's time to stop living in the past and start looking for the future and the bets that we want to win. Let's get on, because we got a game that's about to start.
We got 2 games. Yeah, our first one starts in 3 hours.
Yeah, let's get that. We want to make sure, and I know for a fact there's a top 5 bet in here.
What were we saying, Ryan?
I'm so excited. We got 3 hours till football.
All right, Tony, I'm going to let you take the reins here.
Let's do it, baby. Take the wheel. Cincinnati visiting Pittsburgh. It's a Mason Rudolph game right on Christmas Eve. Cincinnati are 3-point road favorites. Steelers home wins plus 128, and the point total is 38.5. So, Ryan, start us off.
All right, guys. So Chase Brown doing really well in receiving. So actually yesterday I got it at 16.5. It's now down to 15.5. I don't know why it went down. I thought the trend would go up to maybe 17.5. But he's doing really well. He could get that in one catch. So if you want to bet that, you're in luck, because you're getting it at a yard lower than I got it yesterday. That's one of my top 5 bets of the week, is Chase Brown over in receiving yards. Something Tony pointed out earlier too, Freiermuth in this game. I know Mason Rudolph's playing, but he's not that bad. I think he's better than Trubisky. But
I think that's not a high bar to clear.
Right. 28.5 yards. That doesn't seem that bad. He's actually also only at 2.5 receptions. It's super juice. It's like 190 right now, 190. So maybe put that in one of your 3 or 4 leg same game parlays, because I think 3 catches is easily attainable for Freiermuth in this game. Other than that, we don't have Jamar Chase playing. So, guys, what do you think? Is it going to be a Higgins or a Boyd week?
Higgins.
I think it's a Chase Brown week, honestly.
Yeah, I'm all here for that.
Yeah.
Other than that, let's see. Who we got? Yeah, Steelers are 0-3 against the spread in their past 3 games. Just as an FYI, they're also 0-3 against the spread in their past 3 games as an underdog. So the spread right now is at 3 points. I always hesitate when total score lines or spreads are at even numbers. I'd rather have it at 2.5 or 3.5. So I'm not going to be betting the spread because I think this game could potentially be an interesting shootout. Both teams trying their best to get some type of seeding for the playoffs.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah.
All right.
Chase Brown.
Wally, what do you got?
So the one thing I wanted to point out too is the Cincinnati Bengals give up the most receiving yards to tight ends. So that Freiermuth line at 28.5, is it 28.5? Yeah, that's a
Yes,
really
correct.
low line considering they're giving up like 10 yards per reception. And I think it's very likely that Mason Rudolph is dumping off passes. That just feels like what he will be doing.
Yep, short tight end routes are a backup quarterback's best friend.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you're getting one of the best tight end matchups. If you feel something to bet this game, that Pat Freiermuth line was one that almost made my top 5. It jumped out to me right away. And I also think it's worth noting that the Cincinnati Bengals, there's not a lot of rushing attempts against them, but they give up over 5 yards per rushing attempt.
Yes, sir.
So, like Najee and Jalen Warren are interesting plays here. I'm not going to bet them, but
I'll get into
I
that.
can see why you would want to.
Yeah, I got some shit for that, so I'll cover that for you.
Okay, good.
You got anything else?
No. That's all I had on this game.
Kick ass. So I don't have any top 5 bets of the week in this game, but I have 2 little mini parlays, and it's focused around the 4 players in this game that I think are set to do well. I have a little 2-leg parlay with Freiermuth over 28.5 receiving yards, as mentioned before, since he's given up 72 yards per game to opposing tight ends. That's a lot, by the way. This is supposed to be a T. Higgins week. Pittsburgh is a man. They play a lot of man coverage. They're in man at the 6th highest rate. They are second from the bottom in PFF coverage grade. T. Higgins is top 40 in fantasy points per route run against man coverage, and now that he's going to be the primary boundary guy and good in man against a bad defense. T. Higgins over 40 yards. I just took a short little. So I have Freiermuth and Higgins over 40. $5 gets me 12 back. And Wally you alluded to this earlier. So Fantasy Points Data Suite does a rush grade of the week, and they base it on offensive average yards before contact per rushing attempt, and then they mix it with their opposing defense's yards before contact per rushing attempt. Pittsburgh has the fourth best. Cincinnati actually is now, they've trended for a while towards this, and now they've claimed it as the worst defense in the league in yards before contact allowed per attempt.
I don't understand why teams don't run against them more. Because they very clearly can be beat on the ground.
I agree. I also want to point out, in any sort of, so the line being 3 really kind of pushed me towards this little other bet that I made. I took 2 adjusted line props. I took Najee at 40 rushing yards and Warren over 40 rushing yards, 650 to win 1640. The Steelers run at the 2nd highest rate in neutral game scripts. So if you think this game is going to be close, Pittsburgh's going to run, and Pittsburgh can run. So those are the 4 players that I really like in this game to hit one leg or another. Freiermuth, Higgins, Najee, Jalen Warren. I also have, I got this in yesterday. I got it in Cincy -2.5. So I have that as well for my Degenerates Gambit.
Nice.
All right. I love these single day slates, man. I'm sorry. I don't care what people say.
I'm here for it.
Next up, we have got Buffalo going to the Chargers. The Bills are 12.5 point road favorites. Chargers home win is plus 520. Enjoy burning your money, and the total is 44.5. Waleed, take it away.
I gotta tell you, my gut tells me this is a Stephon Diggs week, and it's 69.5. I mean, that Charger secondary, it's not as bad as it was at the beginning of the year. That doesn't mean it's good. And I feel like this is a game that's going to have a lot. What was that?
His number has been sliding consistently because of his
Because they're running the ball
not great
now a lot
production.
more.
You're right.
Wait, guys, do you hear that? Ooh, Gabe Davis.
Never.
Gabe Davis week.
It,
Honestly,
he's
I don't
goosed.
think so.
He's goosed twice in a row, and we're all
I
setting
actually
up
do feel like this.
for Stephon Diggs week. I'm telling you, he's
I
gonna
do
rear his
think this is
ugly
a.
head as the Grinch that stole my bet.
I want to point out, I do think this is a Gabe Davis week. You could not pay me to put money on it, like
Um,
because that's too degenerate even for me.
sure. So you like Diggs? Anything else?
No, Diggs is the only guy I like. Like right now, on a per target basis, the Chargers are giving up 9.33 yards on average, combined yards. Like to the oh, sorry, that's the wrong line. Uh, Diggs is getting 9 targets per game still, like on average. And against that team, man, he should absolutely smoke them.
What's
Wow.
what's Dalvin Cook's line at?
When we get to the Jets game, we'll get you
Or
there.
not
James
Dalvin
Cook.
James Cook.
James
Too
Cook's
many
rushing
71 and a
yard.
half.
It's an excellent question that I think Tony's going to be more than happy to field.
It's
Oh, I
it's
can't wait,
71 and a
baby.
half.
Yep.
Really quick, guys. I don't have too much in this game, but I do like Josh Allen's passing over 245 and a half. I'm hoping that the game script is just that he's going to ball out and just show that the Bills are still a great team and they're going to have a lot to think about in the AFC East. I know it doesn't say a lot because you're playing the Chargers, who have a horrible pass defense, but that's what I'm hoping that Allen's going to exploit. I like that. And I also like Buffalo Bills minus 12 and a half.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you want to know why? Because the Chargers are 0-5 against the spread as underdogs, including 0-3 against the spread as home underdogs. They're also 0-5 outright and against the spread against teams currently with winning records. So, Buffalo minus 12 and a half.
Okay.
I mean, I dig it. The Chargers are bad. I would be worried about like a dead coach bounce here, but the problem with that is like who do they have left? Like no Keenan Allen, no Justin Herbert. I'm sorry, but Easton
Right.
Stick, no, not doing
Yeah.
it.
One little small parlay I just put together while we were talking, it gets a little over 300 plus odds, is that minus 12 and a half, along with Josh Allen's passing over and Josh Allen to throw 1.5 or more passing touchdowns, plus
Okay.
like 3,100, something like that. I'm
Okay.
going to put the 308.
All right.
I will admit to
Um,
being a little bit nervous about the Josh Allen passing over in this game, just because the Chargers are also pretty bad against the run, and they have been committing to the run. Having said that, I just put $1 on that. So
Sure.
All right. So let's talk. Let's talk. One of my top 5 bets of the week because it's in this game, and it's James Cook over 103.5 combined rushing / receiving yards.
that
Okay.
line is now up to 105.5.
As it
Worth
should
noting.
be.
Yep.
But going into this week, this may surprise you, and it's not true anymore because Kyron Williams had a big game and took over. Going into this week, James Cook was second in the NFL in rushing yards. Fun fact. So when Ken Dorsey was the offensive coordinator, James Cook's averages were 14 touches, 83.7 yards per game, 1.93 yards before contact. Since Joe Brady took over, he has 7 more touches per game, so he's at 21. He has over 55 more yards per game. He's averaging 141 scrimmage yards per game since Joe Brady took over. And he's
Really?
averaging almost a full yard more before contact, 2.63 yards before contact. James Cook's been doing it on the ground over the last couple weeks, but even in the games when he doesn't do so hot on the ground, like Philly, 16 rushes, 43 yards. Well, he also caught 6 for 57. So he has opportunity to do well in both the pass and the run game. I love James Cook this week. if he was on the main slate, he would be one of my DFS staples. Yeah, I love James Cook this week. The Chargers also just let go Sebastian Joseph Day, so they're even thinner up the middle than they were before. And so I think this is a big James Cook week. So Ryan, for both of us to hit, let's hope that James Cook has at least 100 yards receiving and 2 tutties.
Ooh,
Hell yeah.
that
So
would be nice.
that would be a lot of fun. And all the memes and hype that Shane and I made up that James Cook was the second coming, it's coming true, baby.
Manifest it.
Hey, I also want to point out the guy that's number 2 in the league in rushing that took over for James Cook because he played on Thursday night, Kyron Williams. Waleed and Ryan can attest. Your boy was a huge Kyron Williams fan coming out of college.
Yeah, you are.
And because of that, Tony, I have him in both of my fantasy leagues, and I'm doing very well because of that. Thank you very much.
My man, Josh. Let's go. All right, let's go to Sunday. Waiting all day for Sunday. We've got the Colts going to Atlanta. Atlanta 2.5-point home favorites. A Colts road win plus 120 on the money line. Totals 45.5. Ryan, take it away.
Honestly, I don't have too much in this game, but I do like the Colts plus 2.5 and for them to win this game.
Okay.
Right now, the Colts guys are 9-5 against the spread for the whole year, tied for the best record in the NFL against the spread right now. And Indy's kind of on a mini tear with what Pittman's doing and stuff. And she's still looking all right. I don't know what to think about Atlanta because for some reason Arthur Smith just continuously plays Algier. Last week's game was
Worst.
like almost embarrassing. I'm like, you have the number 1 draft pick and you're using Algier.
I
Yeah, it was
I barely came short of breaking even last week, and if Bijan had a decent game, I would have crushed.
yeah, we all would have.
Yep.
I don't have very much in this game, but I will take the Indy money line and plus 2.5 because I think
Okay.
Indy's going to win this game.
Okay. Waleed.
I think the two bets that I think are worth looking at in this game. The reason I am not betting Michael Pittman over 69.5 is because he is coming back from a concussion. He's a week off, and I'm a little nervous. Even though the matchup is there and the usage is there, I can't make myself do it. I do like Gardner Minshew over 220.5. I think this is a good matchup for him. It's a plus matchup. But I think when it's all said and done, I try to be very particular about my bets. Those were the lines that stood out to me, but I am not betting anything in this game.
Okay.
So here,
Um,
Waleed, for your Pittman thing, just to go, I just pulled up ESPN really quick to
Okay.
look at the schedule, and one of the headlines is Colts Pittman clears protocol, doesn't recall hit.
Ugh.
Jeez.
Yeah,
How do you clear protocol and don't remember the hit?
well, that's just a concussion thing. He might never remember it. That's what, like, when you black out, man.
Well, and that hit
True.
was like gnarly looking. So.
Yeah, it
African
was really
American
bad.
out, please.
Well, I can't believe he cleared. I can't believe that. I can't
That was-
believe he cleared concussion protocol.
That
Sorry,
was so
guys.
non-PC of us, Tony. I'm sorry for offending you.
Yeah, we watched that hit at my wedding. It was depressing.
Ugh.
So I don't have any formal bets in this game, but there's a couple things I want to point out. One, I'm not biased at all because I'm using Bijan in my semifinals for my big money league and need a huge game from him. But the last time Arthur Smith got
Is it a golf
set-
league, Tony?
Fuck you.
My condolences.
The last time Arthur Smith did this, all of football, writing, Twitter, everything, media, sat him at the bottom of a music festival porta potty and just collectively shit on him. And so he misused Bijan Robinson once again last week. So kind of similar, you're talking about the dead coach bounce.
Yeah.
I think there's a dead coach bounce in play here for Bijan this week. So
I mean, there's a dead coach walking for sure.
Well, so here's the thing is, if Arthur Smith wins this division, which he still can, they're not going to let him go.
No.
So So my heart says that Bijan's going to get a lot of run this week. The Colts give up a lot of rushing yards. I say start Bijan with confidence. I know that's crazy, but the Colts do allow the second most rushing attempts inside the 5. They allow 30. That's a lot.
Do we have any information on Zach Moss, by the way?
It's gonna be Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, it's Jonathan Taylor.
Well, I'm aware, but like, does he have a backup?
Trey Sermon outsnapped Tyler Goodson last week after Zach Moss left 28-18. So I would assume it's Trey Sermon.
So start
Trey
Taylor
Sermon's...
with abandon everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. It's worth noting that Bijan, like the Indianapolis Colts, give up 4.5 rushing yards per attempt, and if they actually hand the ball to Bijan, he should go off against this defense. This is a top 5 matchup.
So I want to point out, so Waleed and I really like looking at this weekly PFF man zone coverage metrics.
Oh, love it.
But since it was finals week for me last week, what they do is essentially aggregate fantasy points data suite information and condense it down for you to read. I went deep this week, boys. I went deep.
Ooh.
So instead of just going man versus zone, I went man, I went cover 3, I went cover 2, I went cover 4, and I went cover 6. And so I found the teams that play the top 5 teams that play the highest rate of each coverage, how many fantasy points per dropback they give up when in that coverage, and the opposing team's most highest fantasy point scoring target against those fronts. Now, of all of the stuff that I looked at here, cover 3 is the highest rate of any defense that anybody plays in the league, and it's the Colts defense. The Colts play cover 3 at 53%. They're about league average in terms of what they give up when in cover 3, but I know that we're hoping that Arthur Smith pulls his head out of his ass, but I hope he pulls it like halfway out of his ass, because guess who is the 22nd ranked pass catcher against cover 3 in the league? It's on Atlanta.
I'm going to go with Drake London.
You are wrong. Drake London is much better versus man than he is zone.
I knew that. I should have known that.
The player that averages 0.52 fantasy points per route run, 22nd in the league against cover 3, is Jonnu Smith.
Really?
Wow.
And Jonnu Smith's receiving line is 23.5.
That's interesting.
So I'm probably going to throw a couple bucks on it just to see how well the methodology plays out.
I'm very curious about that too. And
so that to me is worth a couple bucks as like an exploratory bet to kind of see how everything lines up.
I just did a $1 bet on it.
I'm gonna bookmark that one.
I think that's it's not going to get you a ton of money. It's minus 113, so it's not crazy. But I'm going to put a buck on it and just kind of see how it shakes out.
But that also checks out a little bit in that. Let me go back here. If you look at Jonnu Smith's numbers on the year, he's been kind of like 23.5. He's cleared that in more than half of his games. So if everyone is using cover 3, it kind of checks out.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games this year. He's hit that over.
Yep. All right, so let's get the hell out of this game and let's go to a game that I'm actually really looking forward to, and it's Green Bay going to Carolina.
Ooh.
Packers are 4-point road favorites. Carolina home wins plus 164. The spread or the total points 37.5. Waleed, start us off.
So Jaden Reed is out, I'm guessing?
I have not heard yes or no on Jaden Reed yet.
Well, he does not have a receiving line, which makes it a lot harder for me to bet, because this was the line where I was really interested in. I wonder who's gonna take over the slot role, because whoever the slot receiver is for Green Bay Packers is the guy you want the over on. The Carolina Panthers are giving up. Let me see. I want to say it was like 10.5 yards per target to the slot. It's one in the second. It's the second worst coverage rate of any team.
That's going to be Mr. Tucker Kraft.
Is it going to be Tucker Kraft?
Did you guys see how high Dontavian Wicks' receiving yard line is?
62.5. That blew me away, but it just means that they caught on to you, Tony.
That makes me want to start him in my big money league playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely says a lot.
There'll be a lot for you to stew on tonight while you're trying to fall asleep.
Yeah, no shit.
I
Sorry,
gotta
Wally.
say, oh no, that's okay. I mean, I feel like Tucker Kraft is probably going to be the slot guy, and there's going to be a lot of value in that, like receiving over. At the same time, I think the rushing lines here for Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon might be where it's at here, just because Carolina Panthers' run defense is terrible. These are the lines that all stand out to me, but truth be told, I kind of don't want to bet this game, so I'm not going
Yeah,
to.
in 5 of 6 of Carolina's last games, their defense has allowed 80 or more yards and a touchdown to opposing running backs.
Yeah,
Actually, even more.
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I do like Tucker Kraft's line in this game at 35.5. I think with the injuries that they have, a lot of these wide receivers aren't going to be playing at maybe not even 80%. So I think this is where Tucker Kraft comes in. He is also my mid-tier kind of shitty tight end of the week from TH Fantasy. He caught 4 or 6
Of the
targets
week.
last week
Of the week.
for a touchdown, and I think he's carving out a role into this offense with all the injuries that the Packers have dealt with this year. I also do like. I know that Love is like number 5 quarterback for like the last like 5, no, maybe 4 weeks. He's like in like quarterback rating, and he's got like 9 or 10 touchdowns. But I like Carolina's +4. I think this is going to be a game decided by a field goal, and it's going to be very close. Which is why I also like the over at 37.5. This is going to be a close game. So
Deku, thanks for coming. Yeah, the promotions and bonuses really shut down. They had to
Yep.
nerf us because we were too powerful.
Yeah, I feel persecuted.
You
I think
should.
it's
Oh,
worth noting of the receivers that we have lines on, because I just went onto the fantasy data point suites. Dontavian Wicks is running out of the slot 35% of 35.6% of his routes. Tucker
And that's
Kraft
good.
26%.
Yeah.
So it makes me think those are the two plays. If you're looking for receiving plays in for Green Bay, those are the two guys that stand out.
Yeah. So I'm actually really considering moving Dontavian Wicks, putting him in my lineup for my fantasy playoffs. It's pretty much between him and Donta Foreman. So we'll see.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is. So I want to point out some things that I came up to in this game because one of my top 5 bets in the week is in this game, and it's Chuba Hubbard over 70.5 rushing yards.
Okay.
Chuba's snap share, when Frank Reich was the coach, was about 50%, and now it's at about 73%.
Because he's way better than Miles Sanders.
Correct. Carolina runs zone rushing. They do zone rushing at the 9th highest rate. Green Bay allows the 5th most rushing yards in the league to zone runs. Green Bay gives up the 4th most fantasy points to running backs. They've given up 100 or more rushing yards to running backs in 4 straight. They allow between 20 to 26 carries per game, and they allow 4.6 yards per attempt. Hubbard in the last 3 games has 25, 25, and 24 touches.
Yep.
In the last 3 games, Chuba has 278 rushing yards. That's 3rd. 2nd with 74 touches. He's 4th with 8 rushes of 10 or more yards. Green Bay allows the 2nd most yards after contact. They allow the most rush yards since week 11. Since week 11, they allow 5.3 yards per carry. Chuba Hubbard everywhere. Like, I saw Chuba Hubbard, and I'm like, I'm going to take his line. I'm hoping it's like 56, 59, 61, 70.5, and I'm still so confident that I took it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
wow.
Chuba Hubbard to me is a smash play. I love Chuba this week.
I want to point out on the output on my output sheets, Chuba Hubbard is the number 2 running back of the week. Number 1 was Kyron Williams, and Kyron. I said if I could have put Kyron Williams my top 5 bet of the week this week, I would have, and I would have been right.
Yep. Also, I want to point out Ryan had mentioned Jordan Love. Let me just talk real quick. Against man coverage, Jordan Love 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. Against zone, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Panthers are a zone defense, second highest rate in the league.
Wow.
So I'm going against Jordan Love in the playoffs this week. So I hope he fucking sucks.
That's where okay,
I just hope he sucks because he's a Packer. Like,
Yes,
right?
agreed. But
although
I
at
think
the
this,
same time, there's a part of me that would like Jordan Love to like. I want the Packers to keep winning, so the Bears can knock them out in the last week. If we can knock them out of the playoffs, I will forgive a lot of this season.
Sure.
all right. So let's talk. Let's talk Cleveland, Houston. We've got the Browns going to Houston. The Browns 2.5 point road favorites. Houston upset at home plus 128 on the money line, and the total's 40.5. Waleed.
You know, it's funny that the Joe Flacco passing line is 250.5, and it still hasn't caught up to him. He is by far the number one quarterback play of the week from a usage. He's averaging 40 attempts per game.
Yeah.
That Joe Flacco over is a really good bet, but I do not like having two of my top five bets tied together. And my top five bet of the week is David Njoku over 50.5 receiving yards because it's just a smash play. David Njoku, he's been killing it the last month, especially with Joe Flacco. That line is really low, and you're playing a Houston Texans team that gives up a lot of yards to the tight end position.
I've got some Njoku stat porn if you don't mind me sharing.
I would love it, but I just want to say real
Oh,
quick,
yeah.
they gave the fourth most receiving yards to the tight end position, and David
Oh, yeah.
Njoku was averaging what was the target? What's the target share he's getting per game? He's averaging 9 targets a game over the last 4 weeks.
Oh yeah. Let's.
All right,
So
hit me.
I want to point out two things about David Njoku. First, the Cleveland Browns did an Instagram post that said like "Happy Holidays from our family to yours," and they had animations of all like these Browns players around like in a living room during the holidays, and David Njoku is like by the fireplace,
Okay.
and he commented on there. He's like, "Hell no, I know you didn't just put me right by the fireplace." Um,
I respect that he's having fun with it.
Oh yeah, but since week 7, David Njoku's 9 targets per game, second most in tight ends. He would actually be wide receiver 9 with those numbers.
Ooh.
His 22.9% target share is third amongst tight ends. He would be wide receiver 19 right there. And then he has 16.9 expected fantasy points per game, which would be tight end 1 or wide receiver 10.
Wow.
So I'm with you on David Njoku.
Do we think burning his face gave him superpowers?
I think he shed a bunch of skin that was weighing him down.
Yeah, he's just moving faster.
Yeah.
True. That's all I have for
Well,
this game. So if you're ready, we can kick it to
I
Ryan.
I don't have very much in this game either. Um, I think this game might be more fun to watch from a defensive standpoint, seeing as how Cleveland's defense is doing really well this year. And
Cleveland's defense.
Stroud's still not playing, right?
Correct.
Yeah, he's not playing.
Yeah. So I'm smashing the under in this game, 40.5. That seems too high for this game. I think this game could easily be, I don't know, 21-13, something like that.
Yeah.
I want to point out an under I like this week, and that's Dalton Schultz, under 33.5.
Oh yeah, Cleveland gives up the fewest, right? They give up the fewest yards to the tight end position, and with Case Keenum at quarterback, I think that's actually probably a solid play. I don't like in-game unders because it just takes one play in football and it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, 40.5 seems way too high for this game. So I'm gonna go on the under of this game, but that's all I really want.
Okay. All right. Let's get the hell out of here. Next up, we've got Detroit at Minnesota. The Lions are 3-point road favorites. Vikings home win would be plus 130, and the Lions 47.5. Ryan, start us off.
All right, guys. I'm hesitant to bet any of the running back stuff in this game. Minnesota has surprisingly been okay against the run. Montgomery did not have a touchdown last game after starting the year off with 10. It seems like Gibbs is starting to become more of the focus on that offense because he's the future. So I'm hesitant to bet anything with Montgomery this week. Um, I'll probably be wrong and he'll get 2 touchdowns,
Yeah.
but you know, I'm going to be hesitant to bet it. But I do like some other good stuff. I do have some bets from this week. Um, I have a same game parlay. I do think Amon Ra is going to smash in this game. So one of my top 5 bets of the week is Amon Ra's over 6.5 receptions.
Hope you're right.
I told Tony last night I'll probably go in and also use Waleed's philosophy by always playing, multiple props from the same guy. And I'll probably do is maybe his alternate over 100-yard line.
Sure.
Put
For the
those two
parlay,
together.
yeah.
Uh,
If I'm
yeah,
betting an over on receiving yards, I might as well take his over on receptions too, because
right,
more often
right,
than not, those combine.
Correct.
right. My same game parlay from this game, I'm taking Jared Goff to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I'm taking Sam Laporta's over 49.5 reception yards, and I'm putting that top 5 bet at Amon Ra over 6.5. It's plus 381. I'm putting 10 units down to get almost $50. Um, I went simpler this week. I did only a 3-leg and not a 4 or 5. But you'll like my money line parlay later because it's 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
um,
saw that, and I was like, "That's a Ryan parlay." But you know what? I made fun of you last week, but your 5-legger last week hit.
yeah,
So
yeah. Um, so yeah, other than that, I really like um Goff and Laporta and Amara in this game. I think this has the potential to be a shootout after the way Nick Mullins looked last week. He kind of balled out in that offense a little bit. Had a lot of yards, and ultimately Cincinnati ended up winning that game with that last minute field goal. But um, Mullins looked decent, and now Jefferson's back, and so this game's a good shootout for me, I think.
Okay. Waleed.
So my top 5 bet of the week here. Um, Jordan Addison at 47.5. That line is criminally low. Criminally low. The Detroit Lions are giving out to wide receivers lined up wide 10.5 yards per target. The thing is, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson both lining up wide about the same amount. Both getting similar amounts of targets. The difference is that Jordan Addison's line is half of what Justin Jefferson's is. I think both Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison have really big games. In fact, one of my same game parlay, the one that I used my boost on here, I did Jordan Addison with over 70 receiving yards, over 3.5 receptions, and a touchdown. $5 with my boost, my 25% boost on FanDuel, got me plus 535, and it pays out $31.78. I think Jordan Addison is one of the smash plays of the week. I love him so much.
Week. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I got on this game.
Okay. I want to point out a couple different things. I do not have any top 5 bets of the week in this game of the week. But I love Jared Goff this week because Minnesota's numbers look really good, but they need to be contextualized. They've been excellent since week 6, but since week 6, they've also faced 5 backup quarterbacks.
That checks out.
So I'm not too worried about it because Jared Goff, I'm going to make a bold claim here. Jared Goff is better at football than Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about the lines there. Amon Ra is a good bet to blow up on a given week. But I also want to point out Minnesota plays cover 2 10% more than anybody else in the league, and they're efficient in it. Number 36 in the league in terms of fantasy points per route run against cover 2, Sam Laporta.
Ooh,
So
that's
Hell yeah.
this could be a Sam Laporta game if that's your bag, and it's week 16. There's no excuse for you to not be on the Sam Laporta train.
By the way, we've seen, some great tight ends in our time grow up the last 5-10 years. Kelsey, Kittle, Sam Laporta is having the best rookie tight end season on record better than Gronk, better than, and they're still,
I mean, he's better
what?
than Pitt's rookie year for sure.
Yeah, and there's still 2, 3 games left to play. So
I think it's also worth pointing out with Jared Goff, he's playing in a dome, which means he's more likely to do better.
Yep.
yeah, that's true.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Commanders, Jets in New York, well, in the Meadowlands. So, RIP to everyone's ACLs. The Jets are 3-point home favorites, plus 134 for a Washington upset. Total 36.5. Waleed, what do you got?
I want to bet to Garrett Wilson receiving over so badly, but that means that I have to trust Trevor Siemian. Garrett Wilson has the best matchup of any receiver in football this week. The problem is I don't know that I can trust his quarterback. I still think Garrett Wilson's probably going to hit it, and I might end up betting it anyway. I also think Tyler Conklin is a sneaky good play at 31.5. That's a low line, considering like that he's going to be running out of the slot a lot. And the Commanders are terrible at defending the slot. They're the worst in football. They gave up almost 15 yards per target.
Sure.
But really, like, it's a dangerous game betting on Jets receiving props. It really is.
Agreed. Ryan, what do you got?
I'm afraid to bet this game. I have a feeling this could be like an Iowa game. The line is at 36 the line is at 36.5 right now. I might want to bet the under. This could easily be 17-10. And I don't even know which way to bet if I were to bet on the money line. Commanders are 0-4 against the spread in their past 4 games, and the Jets are 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 games. This just screams under for me. That's all I really want in this game.
Okay. That's funny because my millionaire bet is in this game.
Ooh.
So let me ask you guys.
Tony has no fear.
Let me ask you guys a question. I asked this to Ryan last night. Do the Jets win this game?
Yes, I think they do.
Ryan?
Why not?
All right.
That's a ringing endorsement if I've ever heard one.
Well, in 9 losses this year, Brees Hall is RB 46 in half PPR with 7.1 points per game and 47.2 scrimmage yards per game. In their 5 wins, Brees Hall is RB 2 in half PPR points per game with 20.2, and he has 130.6 scrimmage yards. So, I think the Jets are going to win. I think instead of committing to rushing or receiving props, I think I'm going to take both. It's the same bet I made for James Cook, but the line is actually lower. Brees Hall over 80.5 combined rushing and receiving yards.
Okay.
There was a game early in the year, I think it was Jets-Giants, where we all loved Brees Hall's rushing over.
And he had 100 receiving yards.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember my mistakes.
Yeah, no, it's a good it's good logic. I respect it because Brees Hall he might get there because the problem is like, God damn it, this is one of those things where I think I said it last week. It's like it's hard for me to want to bet on players where I know the coaches are stupid, and Nathaniel Hackett is so fucking dumb. He's so bad at his job.
I think the Commanders are just done. I think they've tapped out. I think they're checked out. And as much as I think Robert Saleh is an idiot for a lot of different reasons, I still acknowledge that he is good as a professional football coach.
He is, and he's been hamstrung. Oh, sorry, go on.
He might not be a strategy guy, but his players fucking love him.
And he's a guy who I think he's going to be much better in his second head coaching job when he doesn't have to be the head coach of the Jets because he's been hamstrung by a terrible general manager and owner. He did not want Zach Wilson back. They've pretty much forced the Aaron Rodgers thing on him. I don't think he wanted anything to do with it. And that's got to be the most frustrating thing, to be forced to fail at your job because of the actions of others.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you guys a question?
You can.
Next year, who would you rather have as the head coach of the Chicago Bears, Matt Eberflus or Robert Saleh?
Robert Saleh, no question.
I
Ryan.
don't know. No,
Yeah.
I'd rather have someone different than Eberflus.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Robert Saleh, but
I keep going
Yeah.
back and forth on Eber. I don't hate Eberflus as much as I did in the past. I have some serious issues with him, but it's undeniable that he's been developing talent on defense. Like our young guys all look good, and he's not, and he looks like a guy who actually seems like he's learning from his mistakes.
Then make him a
let's
defensive
see.
coordinator.
You
Then
can't.
Wally.
You either fire him or you keep him as a head coach.
Well, no, that's what I'm
And
saying. Like that's what I'm
yeah,
saying is like he's in the wrong job for what you just described.
I get it, but he's also kind of been forced to be the defensive coordinator because I still maintain the reason they didn't hire one is because no one wanted the defensive coordinator job of a guy who was like, you don't want that on your resume when you think he's going to get fired at the end of the year. Like, so he
Yeah.
took over because of that, which meant that he has to be more hands off on the offense. I think things could look a little bit better next year, but at the same time, I only want Eberflus back because if he's back, it's more likely Justin Fields is back. So,
All right.
Let's
We'll
see.
save the Bears
Let's
talk
see.
for our podcast.
yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Let's get on to real betting.
Ryan, do you have final thoughts before we move on?
Oh, about the Eberflus thing.
Yeah,
About
whatever. You were gonna
Commanders,
say
Jets.
You were gonna say
Mm,
something and we cut you off. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, let's see how well Eberflus does tomorrow. If he can keep McBride to under 75 yards, then yeah, I'll take him back next year.
All right. I hope that you're wrong, and we'll talk
He's
about
on
that
McBride
later.
watch.
I know. I hope I'm wrong too. But
All right. So next up, we've got Seattle going to Tennessee in a game that I think has so much clown potential.
Ooh.
Seattle are 3.5 point road favorites. A Tennessee home wins plus 152, and the line's 41.5. Ryan.
I don't have a lot in this game, honestly, because I'm like in mourning because of my Tajay Spears bet last week. He had one catch for like 7 yards, and all I needed was like 15 yards, and he had like 80 yards the year before or the week before that. So I'm weird, and his line's actually in this game is at 13.5. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna take Tajay Spears over 13.5,
I'm going to say
and
you're
he'll get
taking the wrong Tajee Spears line.
the
If you look at my top five bets of the week,
rushing.
I got Tajee Spears at over 24 and a half, or was it 24 and a half rushing?
Yes.
It's still 24.5.
Yeah, 24 and a half rushing yards for Tajee Spears. Over the last 4 weeks, the Seattle Seahawks are giving up 5.22 yards per rushing attempt. Tajee Spears he's averaging nine. Uh, excuse me. He's averaging 9 rushing attempts per game. Like that is a big mismatch. It's just the same logic I used last week when I took Algier over Bijan. Is just the usage and the matchup dictated that like he looked like he was going to more than double what his line was. So I'm betting on that. I like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is my number 3 running back from a usage combined with the yardage matchup of the week. Derrick Henry should have a big week, but Tajee Spears is also going to get his, and I think Tajee Spears is a top 5 bet of the week
Yeah.
is a really strong play.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to bet Henry just because of the way the usage has been between Spears and Henry on run. But
Which is why I went with the guy who's getting almost as many carries but has a much
right,
lower line.
yeah, that's
Sure.
good logic.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
I
did you have
I
any
think
more in this game?
I think Seattle wins. And I think they cover at -3.5. The Titans
Okay.
are 1-4 against the spread in their past 5 games as underdogs.
Okay. All right, Wally.
Another game that was another player that came really close to making my top 5 here. Jackson Smith and Jigba over 40.5. This receiving line, it's a good matchup for JSN. I also kind of like DK. Like this Titan secondary can be beat, and they can be beat in the air. And I think there's going to be a fair amount of passing yards, but I like to only have one bet per game, so that's why I kind of stuck with the Tajee Spears. That was the best matchup in this game, so that's what I stuck with. I saw
Okay.
some finger guns coming, so I wonder if Tony was agreeing with me.
Mm-hmm. I am one of my bets that didn't make my list, but it's a single bet that I still want to make and that I love is DK Metcalf over 65.5 receiving yards.
Yeah.
I love DK Metcalf this week. Hang on, 4 to win. I don't know. Who cares? So, um, Tennessee's bad, guys. This is
They're
breaking
very
news.
bad.
I'm just hearing this now. Tennessee, they're bad. They have a cornerback by the name of Trey Avery who lines up pretty much exclusively on the left side. And based on DK's seasonal alignments, he should be there about 60% of his routes. Avery is 62nd or worse on that side in yards per route run allowed, target rate allowed, ADOT allowed, and yards per reception allowed. And DK, by the way, when he's on that side of the field, has the third most missed tackles forced. He's second in yards per route. And on that side of the field, he's one of 9 receivers to have 9 or more splash zone targets, which once again are targets that are 15 or more yards down the field and inside of the numbers, which tend to generate more fantasy points than anything else. So
It always makes me happy when you like a player I like as much, and you have that when you start spouting those numbers. Because DK this week feels like a top 3 receiver of the week. He feels like the biggest smash play to me.
I'm about to go full infomercial on you, Waleed, because
Hit
wait,
me.
there's more. Tennessee in cover 4, 5th highest in the league. 23.5 of their defensive dropbacks are cover 4. They are worse than average at fantasy points per dropback allowed while in cover 4. DK Metcalf, 16th in fantasy points per route run against cover 4 fronts. So
You gotta love matchups like that.
DK Metcalf, love that play. I put money on DK to do
Nice.
well. I think there's a chance. I want him in all my DFS builds because I think he's gonna hit his over, but I also think he has that like Dallas level breakout game potential. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Oh, I
like
agree.
he has week winning DFS takedown potential.
Yeah,
Sure.
I
Breaking
100%
news.
agree.
Breaking news: Kadarius Toney ruled out for Kansas City's game on Monday.
Is it because he
What?
missed the bus?
That's awesome.
Because that would we gotta leave. He's not here. Go
Guys,
go.
wait,
So,
they left me.
so as much as we were talking about DK too, I want to point out with JSN, he's hit that over in 3 of his last 4 games. And then 1, 2, and then 5 of his last 7 games too. So, and one of them he missed by a yard. Like, so
Right.
JSN's usage has been going up significantly, and the amount of yards that the Titans give up to wide receivers lined up wide, which I think JSN, I wanted to say he was lined up wide about like 60%. He's gonna crush it.
JSN, good at football. Who could have guessed?
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's not like I
also-
was saying if he played his last year at college, he was a top 10 pick.
Yeah. I picked this game as my shits to riches game on the TH Fantasy podcast this week because Seattle and Tennessee could just as easily be 33-28 as it could be 10-7.
Yeah.
Both of these
Sure.
teams bring a level of absolute chaos that we need to at least acknowledge. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, you know what I didn't mention? My
What's that?
millionaire bet in this game.
Oh yeah, it's wise of you. You should probably do that.
I went Tajee Spears anytime touchdown at plus 370. $10
shit.
will pay out $47. I want to say that Seattle gives up the second most touchdowns. Yep, second most touchdowns, rushing touchdowns to opposing teams. So I could have gone Derrick Henry. I wouldn't have gotten as much juice, but I figured like Tajee Spears might just sneak into the end zone. So
That's cool.
Sure.
I love it. All right. Let's go to the afternoon games. We've got one of my favorite games of the week. Jacksonville going to Tampa Bay. The Jags, 1.5 point road favorites. A Bucks home win plus 106. 43.5 is the total. Ryan, what do you got?
Guys, we just saw when we started the show, the Bucks were favored in this game, and then as we were in the meeting room before the show started, Tony announced that Trevor Lawrence has cleared a concussion protocol
Correct.
and is going to play this game. So at the time, it was Bucks minus 110, Jags minus 106. It is now Jags minus 124, Bucks plus 106. And now this was Shane's shits to riches game of the week, right?
That's a good choice for this because I feel like
Um,
that over at 43.5 is way too fucking
yeah,
low.
I really do like the over now that Lawrence is playing, and I do like the Jags to win now. The Buccaneers are 0-6 outright, all right, against teams currently with winning records this year. All right. I don't think they're gonna break that mold. So I'm going with the over. I'm going with Jacksonville to win. One of my top 5 bets is from this game this week. I think Baker is going to continue his hot streak and just keep dealing. So I don't know why Mike Evans' reception line is so low. Maybe it's because Godwin had a bunch of catches last game, but he is only at 4.5 receptions right now, and that seems real easy to bet.
It is
So that
really
is one of
low.
my top 5 bets of the week, and it's still at 4.5. I thought maybe today it would go to 5.5, but it's still at 4.5. So that's going to be one of my top 5 bets of the week. Um, Other than that, anything with Baker, I like his passing over at
Yes.
239.5. They still have yet to announce any Trevor Lawrence lines. Let's let the sportsbooks AI catch up with the news that just happened, and those will probably be announced sometime later today. But if Lawrence's passing yardage is probably going to be somewhere around where Baker's is, so I'll probably bet that too because I do like the shootout potential for this game.
Okay.
Waleed?
I feel like it's worth noting that the Bucks and Jacksonville Jaguars both give up top 5 yardage to quarterbacks, which means if there's a lot of yards to the quarterback, that means a lot of passing, means more
Right.
than likely a lot of scoring, which is why I like the over
Yeah.
in this game. My
Jacksonville's
top 5 bet
secondary
of the
is not
week.
good.
What was that?
I said Jacksonville's secondary is not good.
Nope, neither is Tampa's. They
Correct.
both
Yeah.
give up a lot of yards to wide receivers, a lot of yards to quarterbacks. Evan Ingram was one of my top 5 bets of the week. Last night when I put this line in, it was his yardage was 50.5. It is now 53.5. People are going hard at that over, and they should be. Like that only makes me feel better about the bet. Unfortunately, I didn't place this bet because I like to see what I have at the casino first. So hopefully I can get a. I'm not gonna get 50.5, I think, but hopefully I can get like 51 or 52. But you know, I
Okay.
don't really care if that line is 60. I'm still taking it.
Okay. Anything else?
I do have a
I
same
also,
game parlay into this too. I do
oh,
have
nice.
Evan Ingram's over at 50.5 and an Evan Ingram touchdown. That I did get locked in. That $5 pays out plus
that was
364. And
before you
it'll
knew about Lawrence too.
huh?
That
I
was
don't
before
care.
you knew
Like
about
I don't
Lawrence
really
too.
I didn't
Yeah.
really worry about the quarterback because Evan Ingram's still been getting targets from the backup.
True.
Like backup quarterbacks
Um,
like tight ends. That only makes me like
yeah.
him more. And the way that offense is designed, it funnels things into the slot. With no Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram is more valuable, not less.
Right. I also forgot to mention the other line that I like was K. Dotton. He's also my secondary TH fantasy mid tier kind of shitty tight end of the week.
Okay.
Uh,
Of the week.
K. Dotton's line is only at 24.5. And if we believe that Baker's going to go over his 239.5, then I'm putting that in there with it. 24.5 seems kind of low for another tight end in the league that's has seen some better days in the last few weeks
And
as
and Jacksonville gives up the
part of
fifth
that
most
offense.
receiving yards to tight ends.
Yeah, let's do it, K. Dotton.
Okay. So let me tell you guys a story. In my big money league, I was 11-3 in the regular season. I whooped everybody's ass, and right at the end, I lost Tank Dell and Justin Herbert.
Oh.
So I was about to face. I had a bye in the first round, so I'm going to face a team that's really good, and it was Kyler Murray. So I got to tell you how hard I sweated this waiver wire pickup this week. I landed Baker Mayfield, and I am rolling Baker Mayfield out with fucking confidence this week, my friends.
I'm starting
Um,
Baker in 2 leagues over Tua.
let's point out a couple things real quick. Some Baker love. Baker's had 20 or more points in the previous 2 games. Since week 12, the Jacksonville Jaguars have allowed 285 passing yards per game and 1.75 passing touchdowns per game for an average of 23.9 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks.
Where are the
Nice.
commercials where Baker moves out of his stadium into Florida and has a great time?
After this game, they will shoot him.
Starts a gator farm.
Baker
I
kills it
also-
in those commercials.
I also did say, and I pinned it in the Football Absurdity Discord, which if you're not in, you should be in. I pinned that if Baker leads my fantasy team to a championship this year, I'm going to use some of my winnings to get a Bigfoot tattoo.
Man,
Oh, I love it.
So I want to point out a couple more things. Jacksonville has allowed 10 weeks of top 12 quarterback play this year. No other team has allowed more than 8 top 12 quarterbacks against them this season. Jacksonville has 10. So,
Wow.
Smash matchup for Baker. I love Baker this week. He's one of my go-tos. I don't want to he's not a top 5 bet of the week for me because I only want my heart to break once just in case.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my I love Baker this week. Also, I want to point out, can you guys tell me? I want to ask you a question. Second in the league in end zone targets with 17 this year. Who is it? He's in this game. Each of you guess one guy.
Mike Evans.
Sure.
Ryan?
Second in the league in end zone targets.
Yep. Guess someone
Targets,
that's
not touchdowns.
not Mike
Right.
Evans.
Is it White?
No. It is
Godwin?
no. It's Mike Evans and it's Calvin Ridley. Both.
Oh, really?
Oh,
They are each tied with 17 end zone targets this year. The only problem is one of them actually catches them.
I was going to say,
Right.
Ridley's dropping a lot of end zone targets, is what I just heard there.
Sure is. All right, let's party. Cardinals,
If you
Bears.
look, I want to say before you go, if you look at the screen, I was looking at what we were kind of talking about here. You want a nice little same game parlay that's built into everything. You get that Baker Mayfield over 2 touchdowns, Mike Evans anytime touchdown, that Mike Evans over on receiving and receptions and his passing yards. You get plus 424 for $1. Let's go.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, so Ryan and I will be at this game tomorrow. Cardinals, Bears. Bears 4.5-point home favorites, which is. Have you watched the Bears Vegas? Arizona plus 168 on the money line, and the total's an even 43. Ryan, start us off.
I feel like they've
This
also
is-
watched the
I-
Cardinals is the problem.
yeah, right. I mean, when I logged in, I was like, "Oh, wait, Bears minus 200. Is this a different sport?" Like,
Holy shit.
I don't think we've seen minus 200 on any Bears game this year. But as Tony said, we'll be at this game tomorrow, and one of the things I want to see, as a Bears fan and being at the game, I want to see a goddamn DJ Moore touchdown. So that is going to be my millionaire bet of the week at
Yeah,
plus
for good.
130. DJ Moore touchdown. All right. I think he's going to have a great game too. So I'm going to be probably putting some bets in on his over at 67.5. I think that's where it's at right now. Hold on. Yeah, 67.5.
Guys, just remember,
I
they
am
are
going-
who we thought they were. All right.
True.
What the hell, Josh?
I am going to follow the Ingram bet the McBride bet that Tony has in one of his parlays at 61.5. But like I said, if he gets over 75, then we got to start thinking about a different coach than Eberflus. But other than that, I don't have too much in this game. I'm just going to enjoy watching it tomorrow and hope that DJ Moore gets his millionaire touchdown.
Okay. Wally.
DJ Moore is a smash play this week to me, but he's not as big a smash play as Justin Fields himself. When I first looked at it, the passing line for Justin Fields was 212.5. It's now down to 205.5. The weather's not going to be that bad.
It's going to be in the mid 50s.
Yeah, Justin Fields at 205.5 is. I try not to bet on Bears players anymore because it hurts. It hurts doubly when I lose, so I don't do it. but Justin Fields projects to be like a top from a usage standpoint, based on matchup, he projects to be a top 3 yardage play. I'm not going to like pass up a line of 205.5 when it should so clearly be like he should smash that over. So that's one of my top 5 bets of the week. I hope it doesn't hurt me. But DJ Moore is also a top 5 wide receiver of the week based on usage over the last 4 weeks. So I like the anytime touchdown bet.
Okay. I am going to introduce my parlay quickly, and then I'm going to tell you why. My same
Okay.
game parlay of the week is Donta Foreman over 37.5 rushing yards. It is Cole Kmet over 38.5 receiving yards. And it's Trey McBride over 61.5 receiving yards. I used my boost to get it up to 639. So I'd be taking home about $70 if it hits. So let's point some stuff out. The Bears have the 3rd highest rush grade of the week. The Bears offense is 7th best at yards before contact per attempt. Arizona 3rd worst. That's bad. Arizona allows the most rushing yards versus zone runs. They allow over 1,000 rushing yards this year on zone handoffs. And the Bears offense has 907 rushing yards on zone plays, which is 6th in the league. The problem is this last week, Roshan had 36 snaps, Herbert had 17, Foreman had 16. So I thought long and hard about this, and luckily I still think that Foreman can hit 37.5 rushing yards on 10 carries easy.
I
All
actually
right.
have something here, Tony, that might make you feel better about that usage.
Please.
If you look at it last week, what was that?
Please.
Okay, so if you look at last week, the reason why I think Roshan outsnapped both of those guys is they were playing the Cleveland Browns. Roshan is the best blocker of that bunch.
That's true.
On the flip side, the Arizona Cardinals are starting 6 undrafted free agents on their
That's
defense.
bad. That sounds
So
bad.
I think that you're going to see Donta Foreman get a lot more of a workload because you're not as worried about pass protection. So I think it'll even out. But I also think, truth be told, if I had rushing lines for all of the running backs on the Bears, I would take those overs because 37.5, that's
Yeah.
6 carries for Donta Foreman, if I'm being honest.
Okay, so I want to point out too, Arizona has allowed 17 running backs to end up in the top 24 this year. No one else has allowed more than 15, so they are record-breakingly bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, next up, Cole Kmet, baby. Let me tell you about Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet, Arizona runs cover 4 at the highest rate in the league, and they are one of the worst in terms of giving up fantasy points per dropback. They're in cover 4 almost 38% of the time. They allow almost half a point fantasy point per dropback when in cover 4. And Cole Kmet, 26th in the league versus cover 4.
Interesting.
He has
Yeah.
6 or more targets in 6 of the last 7, and he's caught more than 5. He's caught 5 or more in all of those games. Cole Kmet's so hot right now. And so that's
So
why he's
hot
the
right
second
now.
leg. So getting Foreman at 37.5 and Kmet over 38.5 seems like a bargain. And then I tied that in with Trey McBride. So let me just give you some Trey McBride real quick. Let me hit you with this. Because 61.5, that's gaudy. But check this out. So since week 8, Trey McBride is wide receiver 7 in targets per game with 9.1. He's wide receiver 6 in target share with 28.3%. He's wide receiver 10 with 77.4 yards per game. Wide receiver 12 in yards per route run with 2.54. And wide receiver 1 in team receiving yardage share with 40.4% of his team's receiving yards.
So what you're saying is he's the wide receiver 1 on the Arizona Cardinals.
And yeah, so I'm saying if Kyler Murray passes for 150 American yards, Trey McBride hits his over.
Yep.
So that's my 3-leg parlay right there. I'm going to bet a ton of money on this game just to have fun while we're at the stadium. And Brian's like, I just want to kick back and enjoy the game. No, I want to sweat. I want to be angry, and I want to be irritated, and I want to be annoying. So that'll be me. So while Arizona's in the huddle, I'm going to be screaming like, I need 8 yards. I'm going to I want to buy a FanDuel jersey You know what I mean?
FanDuel jersey.
Yeah, like I don't care about teams anymore. Let me just get a FanDuel jersey.
What you need is the half FanDuel jersey, half DraftKings jersey, because you're playing for both
Yeah.
teams. You're rooting for both
Right.
of them.
I have a
Right.
I have a fan controlled football T-shirt you could wear, Tony.
That rules. All right,
That's
so
fire.
that's what I got for this game. Let's move on. Let's go to Dallas and Miami, a game I'm really looking forward to watching after we get home on Sunday. Miami 1.5-point home favorites. Dallas plus 110 for a road victory, and the over under 49.5, down from 50.5. Waleed, start us off.
Holy shit. I'm looking like I want to bet the CD Lamb line at 50 and at 90.5. Like, but I can't. That line is too high. Even though CD Lamb has such a good matchup this week, and frankly, CD Lamb is always a good strong bet. I don't really think I have anything in this game. I like Tyreek Hill over 86.5, but I can't like the Dallas defense could just destroy Tua, and I'm fading this game. I'd rather just watch it and enjoy it than have any money on it.
Okay, Ryan.
This is gonna be a high scoring game, I think for sure. I know it's high points total 49.5, but I'm gonna go the over. Um, I'm also gonna take the Dolphins to win.
Ooh.
Cowboys are 0-3 against the spread as underdogs, and the Dolphins are 8-2 against the spread as favorites. So, um, I like the Dolphins odds in this one. Um, let's see.
Did you guys hear the clip of Mike McDaniel talking to his team?
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, like that's what I want from. And then we get Luke Getzey just saying it's about execution. It's about execution. He's like, hey, sometimes I'm going to call shit plays. You're going to have to bail me out. That's what happens. Which is the most honest. Of course, like why
Right.
can't offensive coordinators admit that they don't do everything perfectly all the time?
Right.
I hate Luke Getzey so much.
I do like Ferguson's line at 43.5. Let's see.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bet the Lamb line. That's a little high for me, especially
Yes.
after the game that Prescott had last week.
Well, everyone was sick on Dallas last week. It's worth noting.
Okay. Well, I like Ferguson's line. I like Miami to win, and I like the over.
Okay.
Okay.
So I took Tyreek's over as one of my top 5 bets of the week at 86.5. I follow the rule of this line should not be this low regardless of matchup.
Yeah,
Because
I agree with that.
he's still
how-
Tyreek fucking Hill, guys.
Right. Look how Dallas defense got torched last week.
Well, they got torched through the ground, but at the same time, like I know that Miami's offensive line is bad, and we could give a shout out to AK Magic in the Discord, who is like on one hand the biggest Dolphins homer, and on the other hand the biggest Dolphins like everything is doomed. Like there are
He's
two
a real
dogs-
fan.
Yeah, and he's like, "Fucking take Dallas. Miami's beat up. They're gonna lose." Blah blah blah. Tua doesn't need a lot of time to get the ball to Tyreek short, where he can break 8,000 tackles.
Right. And get 60 yards after the catch. Yeah.
I do
He's-
worry about Tyreek's ankle.
But give me Tyreek against man coverage, because
Yeah, that's the problem.
who
Like
stops Tyreek? Like
no one.
Okay, so I'm gonna blow your mind a little bit here. Dallas is in man at the highest rate in the league. 42% of their defensive alignment comes in man coverage. They're actually bottom half in fantasy points per dropback allowed in man coverage. Do you want to guess who's first overall in fantasy points per route run against man?
I don't need to guess. It's Tyreek Hill.
So I love that, like, I'm trying to find this edge. So like I broke down all the coverages, like I said earlier. The best lines that I have a guy, and I'll talk about him in a minute, who gets 0.78 fantasy points per route run against a certain coverage. And I'm like, oh my God, what an advantage. It's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. Tyreek Hill averages 1.19 fantasy points per route run against man.
That's just insane.
That's like video game numbers. That's like if you created a player and boosted his speed, receiving, all of his numbers up to 99.
Every time he runs a route, he basically gets 11 yards.
More or less, yeah, and
Right.
or one catch for 1 yard. Like he's
Yeah.
averaging almost 1.2 points. Um, so I think that is the best. He's the best against man in the league. Before he got hurt, his lines were routinely 106.5, 109.5. So my next two bets of the week that I haven't discussed are receivers who are getting lines much lower than what they've been historically been producing against what they're facing. So I love Tyreek this week. I don't mind Mostert this week. But let me tell you a little something about my man Jake Ferguson.
Okay.
Miami in cover 6, the highest rate in the league. Jake Ferguson, 8th in fantasy points per route run against cover 6 with .78. Less impressive in the shadow of the Tyreek Hill stuff, but Big Ferg, by the way, he's good.
He's great.
I like Ferguson. I like Tyreek. I actually kind of like Mostert and Achane too because Dallas is low key getting run on a lot.
That's how the
And
Bills beat them a week ago.
sure is. And the thing about my rush matchup metrics that I look at, it's all about yards before contact. And Miami's number 1 in yards before contact. And when you have guys like Achane and Mostert, when they're untouched through the line, big play potential at a given second, like anytime. So
Based on my metrics here, Dallas Cowboys are giving up 4.75 yards per rushing attempt to opposing running backs. Mostert projects for like 80 yards, and Achan a little bit not that far behind. He doesn't have the total yards, but he's good for 50. So like these lines are really like favorable.
These lines are betting on capital D, capital C Dallas Cowboys, and
Yep.
I don't think that reflects how they've kind of like how it's kind of changed. So I like both of those. I'm not putting them in my top 5 bets because, like we said, Dolphins line is a little beat up, but I think that this game does have a chance to hit that over at 49.5. I think this game's going to be a banger.
Yeah, I agree.
And so Ryan and I are going to be coming back from the Bears game. And I can just watch Dallas and Miami because I'm certainly not interested in watching New England at Denver, which is our Sunday night game. Denver are 7.5 point home favorites. The Patriots are plus 285 on the money line, and the total's 35.5. Waleed.
I will say that Zeke rushing line at 63.5 feels
Yes,
like
sir.
a pretty solid play. I won't bet it unless if I'm ahead when it comes, I might actually bet it because it's too good a line. Other than that, I don't care about this game.
All right, Ryan.
Denver's going to win. Also, at 12.5 yards, Lil Jordan Humphrey. All it takes is one catch.
Little Jordan.
But yeah, I have no interest in this game other than
one of my degenerates gambit bets of the week is a Patriots upset.
Really?
what?
Yes, sir. I love when some of these earlier bets hit and I have a little bit more cash in my account. I plan on parlaying Zeke's rushing over with a Patriots win.
Okay.
Zeke
Okay,
had
yeah.
86% of offensive snaps last week. And he's going up against the defense that has 105 missed tackles on run plays this year. Denver allows the second most rushing yards to gap schemes and fourth most rushing yards to man schemes. New England is more of a man running attack, so they're 8th most rush yards. Denver gives up the 4th. Seems to me like that's a great matchup. From weeks 10 to 15, and I can't do math very well, that seems like 6 games to me. Denver's allowed 8 top 24 running back finishes in those 6 games. So I like Zeke. And I really think that Bill Belichick can coach the shit out of this team, Sean Payton. I think he knows he's gone. And I know how motivated by spite Bill Belichick is. So
Yes, he
I
is.
believe he's going to try to go out and make sure that whoever the new guy is stuck with Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
So that's Sunday night. Let's talk about our Monday doubleheader or our Monday triple header, my friends. Let's start with the noon game, and that's Raiders and Chiefs. Chiefs 10.5 point home favorites. A Raiders upset is plus 420. That's the weed number. And the line's 40.5. Ryan, start us off.
All right. Honestly, I don't have really much anything in this game except a Kansas City win as part of my money line parlay. Um, I think there's just going to be a Chiefs blowout.
Okay. Waleed?
So I'm going to let you get into it a little bit because I know this is one of your top 5 bets of the week. But
It is not,
the
but
only
it's my
bet that,
parlay.
huh?
It's not,
Oh,
but
it
it's my
isn't.
parlay.
Rashee Rice
Yes,
is
sir.
such a good play against the Las Vegas Raiders. At
Mhm.
first I was a little hesitant because this just missed a cut for me at 67.5. Jordan Addison ended up bumping him out because I thought I was getting more value. But
Oh, he went up, huh? I got him at 66.5.
yeah, and he's going to keep going up because this matchup is so good. He's hit that over in 3 of his last 4 games. He's the only non-Travis Kelce wide receiver worth a damn. And just this matchup is fire for Rashee Rice. I want to say, yeah, he projects as like my number 4 receiver for the week. I want to say I can't find the exact line here. Where is it here? What are the Raiders doing? I can't find the exact matchup I was looking for. I just know that from my usage model, Rashee Rice is the number 4 receiver of the week in this matchup, and I like it, and I will bet it.
I totally see why you would.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
Nope, that's all I have in this game.
All right, cool. So I am all over Rashee Rice. My 2-leg parlay has Rashee Rice in it, and I'll talk about that when I hit the other part. Let me see what I had here. I had something. That's there. Okay, cool. So let's talk a little Rashee Rice. His last 4 games, here's his target share: 31.3%, 30%, 25.6%, 25.7%. Hey guys, that's elite. That is elite. Las Vegas is in cover 3 on 43% of their snaps. Rashee Rice, 9th in the league in fantasy points per dropback against cover 3. I am starting Rashee Rice over T. Higgins and Jalen Waddle in one of my playoff matchups this week.
Wow, that's belief.
Since week 13, 39% of Rashee Rice's targets have been design targets. In that time, he has a higher target share than Travis Kelce and 14th in the league in yards per route run with 2.39. Raiders in zone overall at the 8th highest rate. Rashee Rice 4th in fantasy points per route run, 7th in yards per route run, 11th in PFF receiving grade. I love Rashee Rice this week, my friends.
Oh, no.
I did not love Rashee Rice's tape. I thought he fumbled too much, and that's shown a little bit here at the next level. But it's pretty clear that he is the best wide receiver asset that this team has by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, significantly.
Sky Moore's out. Kadarius Toney's out. I think that funnels a couple more targets Rashee Rice's way. I would play Rashee Rice up to about 68.5, 69.5 receiving yards.
Nice.
All right, so let's move on. The middle game. Got the Giants going to the Eagles. Eagles 13.5 point favorites. Giants win would be plus 590. Hey, the line's 43. Waleed.
Well, I will say Wan'Dale Robinson at 31.5 feels like a solid play just because he's clearly DeVito's favorite wide receiver, and the Eagles are giving up top 5 yardage to other wide receivers. I want to see what Robinson's numbers have been like.
Mid.
Yeah, but I mean, mid could still be
Wan'Dale.
hitting those overs. Oh, you know what? Maybe I don't like that as much. He's inconsistent here. Yeah, I don't think I'm betting anything in this game.
Okay, Ryan.
Guys, I'm not a big believer in Tommy Cutlets, so
Same.
I think this is going to be a massive blowout for Philly. I do like the Jalen Hurts 2 tush push touchdown bet at plus 280. I do like that. And I like AJ Brown in this game. Let's see. He's at 5.5 receptions. I bet that easily he's going to have 7 or 8 at least on 10 targets. I might even bet his yardage as well at 75.5.
Aha.
Mm.
Yeah. But other than that, don't believe in Tommy Cutlets. He won't be good. He
Okay.
fired his agent. So
Well,
Well,
he demoted his agent.
demoted him. He's not doing his appearances anymore.
he's not doing his pizza parlor appearances anymore.
Right. Well, he's not the
Yeah.
one in charge of it. Okay. Well, I got some stuff here if you guys are cool with it.
I am.
I want to point out something funny that I stumbled across. Even though he missed almost an entire month, he was out at Saquon got hurt in the after the Arizona game, and he didn't come back till the Buffalo game. He is still the only running back in the league that has 100% of his teams inside the 5 rushes.
Really?
So there was a month that the New York Giants played football, and they had 0 rushing attempts inside the 5.
That tells you
That's-
how important Saquon is.
That team is ass.
Yes.
So one of my top 5 bets of the week, I have this everywhere. AJ Brown over 75.5 receiving yards. That's the other leg of my Rashi Rice parlay. That is a top 5 bet of the week for me. Look, man, you guys already know I'm ride or die with AJ Brown. This to me is the same thing that Tyreek Hill is going through. Okay, you had a couple down weeks, but you've got an incredible matchup, and your line is way lower than it has any right to be. AJ Brown has 10 or more targets in 3 straight games, as Ryan alluded to. AJ Brown third in end zone targets with 15. Giants are in man the third highest rate in the league. Tyreek Hill number 1 fantasy points per route run with 1.19 against man. AJ Brown's 5th. 0.81 fantasy points per route run against man coverage. And the Giants are also around league average in yards or fantasy points given up per man. So this to me this is a big AJ Brown week. I think AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. This could be an Ole Miss at the top of the charts this week for fantasy production. But I really
Get
would
your
have loved
Jonathan Mingo shares in.
I would have loved to have been able to bet this, like have this in DFS lineups, but I'm not. So my plus 252 odds parlay is AJ Brown over 75.5 receiving yards. I had Rashi Rice at over 66.5 receiving yards. I still like it at 67.5. I put in $10 at plus 252 to return me over 30. So I do love this game. So let's talk about like a game that honestly, you guys, I'm just gonna spoil it and tell you right now. I have nothing for it because I just want to watch good ass football. Monday night, Baltimore at San Francisco. San Francisco 5.5 point favorites at home. Baltimore plus 200 money line on the upset. Totals 47.5. Ryan, tell me what you got.
As we sit there at 6 o'clock on Christmas Day night and count our money after we win so much after these games on Sunday, um, I'm going to take some money. I don't know if I'm going to do 3, but I'm at least going to do 2 Christian McCaffrey touchdowns. 3's at plus 1,000, 2's at plus 240. We all know he got 3 last week. I don't think he's got 3 in him again. So I'm going to probably do 2. I do like Baltimore plus 5.5. I think this is going to be a very close and another shootout game. And Lamar Jackson in his career is 24, 11, and 2 against the spread on the road.
Okay.
Now this may be a little bit different because they're on the road, but they're also playing the best team in football right now. But if I think it's going to be a close game, I'm going to bet Baltimore plus 5.5 with the intention of this being decided by like a field goal or something. Other than that, I'm hesitant to bet the wide receiver lines for Frisco just because of the way Baltimore's defense has been. But I will do anything with McCaffrey. So
Okay. Waleed.
So I think it's worth noting. I believe every time Baltimore has been a dog this year, they've covered. So Baltimore getting 5.5 is a very good value play. I think this could be a Super Bowl preview. I hope it is because
Sure.
then I'll
Yeah.
make some money. Um, I actually like Gus Edwards a little bit this week. I think he has
Yeah. It's gonna be a lead back.
yeah, he's going to be a lead back, and his line is only 41.5. I think there's some value too in Isaiah Likely at 38.5, but I
Sure.
don't know. I have to see how my week goes before I bet anything on that. The only thing I think for sure I'm
Yeah.
going to bet is the Baltimore plus 5.5. That line is ridiculous.
Sure.
Okay. I have a couple numbers I want to spit out at you before I call it because, like, I don't have, like I said, I don't have too much in this game. I want to point out some stuff that caught my eye. In the last 3 games, Debo has 7 touchdowns on 20 touches.
Holy
Damn.
shit.
Yeah. Zay Flowers had 45 or more receiving yards in every one of his first 7 games, and he's only done it twice since then.
Yeah, he's fallen off a little bit.
Crap.
That's because Odell has been kind of killing it.
Odell is in the high 30s in terms of fantasy points per route run against zone. He's the best on the team, but he's still not elite.
Yeah.
Baltimore is in man at the 11th highest rate. Ayuk is the man crusher. He's fourth in fantasy points per route run, third in yards per route run, fourth in PFF receiving grade. But as I'm sure all smart bettors know, trying to figure out which San Francisco receiver it's going to be this week is always a nightmare. And that's why when I'm doing single game DFS entries for San Francisco games, what I end up doing is I'll do the same build twice, but one with Debo and one with Ayuk.
Oh, that's a good strategy.
Yep. Probably just the easiest way to make sure one of them cashes.
Yeah, I like it.
So let's run through our bets. Waleed, you want to do your top 5?
I would love to. So my top 5 bets of the week, I got Tajee Spears over 24.5 rushing yards. I've got David Njoku over 50.5 receiving yards. Evan Ingram over 53.5 receiving yards. Jordan Addison over 47.5 receiving yards. And Justin Fields over 205.5 passing yards.
All right. My top 5 bets of the week. James Cook over 103.5 combined rushing and receiving. Chuba Hubbard over 70.5 rushing. Tyreek Hill over 86.5 receiving. AJ Brown over 75.5 receiving. David Njoku over 50.5 receiving. Viscount Edgecombe, please take it away.
Alish.
All right, my top 5 bets. We got Chase Brown at 16.5. As I said earlier, if you guys want to get in it today, it's at 15.5, but
And
you
that's
only got
receiving, right?
yeah,
That's
it's
receiving.
receiving yards. You only got like an hour to do it. I got Amon Ra's over 6.5 receptions. I got Mike Evans over at 4.5 receptions. Seems stupid low. Last week it was at 5.5. It even went to 6.5.
So fucking
Buffalo,
low.
Buffalo minus 12.5. As I said earlier, LA is just horrible against the spread this year. And then I've also got a DJ Moore touchdown.
All right. Parlay Master Waleed, what do you got?
I got Ryan's gonna make it so I can't carry the title of Parlay King if he keeps his heater going because he's been doing really well over the last month.
Sure.
I got my same game parlay. I used my FanDuel profit to boost. I went. It's all in on Jordan Addison. I got 70 adjusted line of 70 yards receiving, 3.5 receptions and a touchdown. $5 at plus 535 pays out $31.78. My second same game parlay was Evan Ingram over 50.5 receiving yards and an anytime touchdown. There was no reception line when I made this bet, and I was too impatient to wait. And frankly, I thought I was getting a good enough price with just 2 outcomes, so I just went $5 at plus 364. Will pay out $23.25.
Okay. I will go second. My regular parlay is AJ Brown over 75.5, Rashee Rice over 66.5. I put 10 on it because I feel good about these two players. at plus 252. That would bring me back 35.24. My same game parlay, Donta Foreman over 37.5 rushing yards, Cole Kmet over 38.5 receiving yards, and Trey McBride over 61.5 receiving yards. I got that. I used my profit boost on that, so I put 10 down at plus 639 to bring me back 73.91. Ryan, your parlays, my liege.
All right, a money line parlay this week, guys. Buffalo, Chicago, Denver, Kansas City, Frisco, and Philly. All right. 10 units, it's at plus 306. It's more conservative parlays because these are all the favorites. Um, plus 306, $10 down gets you a little over $40. Then for my same game parlay, I went with the Minnesota and Detroit game, but I went with all Detroit players. I got Goff at 1.5 touchdowns or more passing. Sam Laporta's reception over at 49.5. Or sorry, his yards over at 49.5. If he has 49.5, gets over 49.5 receptions, that'll be the all-time record.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
That would
and
be
I
madness.
and I went with Amon-Ra's reception over at 6.5. I think he's going to have a baller game. And Detroit's just going to be playing ahead the whole time. And it might be good for some Minnesota players if you want to learn, because they'll probably be playing from behind. But that's plus 381 with those three legs. $10 to get you a little over 48.
And I bow before two titans among me. So I'll do my modest little millionaire bet of the week, if you'll allow me, my lords.
Yes.
I took Brees Hall, thank you, over 80.5 rushing and receiving yards at minus 114 to go to 1877. Waleed?
All
I
right. The
went
surf has
Tajee
spoken.
Spear. What was that?
I said the surf has spoken.
Damn, this viscount shit's getting to Ryan's head.
Uh-huh.
I got Tajee Spears anytime touchdown at plus 370, so a $10 bet will make me $47.
Okay.
Nice.
Ryan, my liege.
All right, guys. To continue the Millionaire Challenge this week, I'm going with the DJ Moore touchdown because that will make being at that game tomorrow that much sweeter. I had $75 left over from last week. At plus 130, it'll get me like 172.50.
Must be nice.
That'll be a hell of a payout.
All right, let's talk our DFS shit, my friends. I have been dethroned, so I'll go first with my quarterback play of the week. And I'm going to be modest because I'm trying to weasel my way back into some power at some point. So instead of going Baker Mayfield, which is where my heart is, I'm going to go with Jared Goff.
Wow. Okay. That was actually mine, so then I will go Baker Mayfield.
There you
Oh,
go.
interesting. The guy I like, actually, Joe Flacco at Houston, 7,100.
Not
Yeah,
surprising.
he's gonna save you a lot of money too.
Yeah,
So
I went cheaper on that. I also really love Justin Fields this week, though,
yeah.
Get out of town.
and
all
every
right.
week. Now
My
till
running back,
forever.
my running back play of the week is Chuba Hubbard at 6,400.
That's a
Nice.
good
Such
play.
an economical play this week. It's gonna save you a lot of money to pay up with other positions.
All right.
I'm gonna go with some of Tony's logic, who he spit earlier about Brees Hall, and I'm gonna go Brees Hall
My man.
because if this is a mediocre game, he is going to dominate.
So I'm going to throw out two guys here because my big play, I love Derrick Henry this week, but for value, Donta Foreman at 5,900 will be in all of my lineups.
So which one do you want me to write down as your play of the week?
Go with Donta Foreman.
Okay. For wide receiver, I am going with DK Metcalf of the Seattle Football Seahawks.
Nice.
Damn, I'm torn between two guys.
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart.
I don't know. Let's just go DJ Moore because I have him for a touchdown. I'm going DJ.
Okay. Waleed?
I'm going Jordan Addison.
Okay.
Shocking.
Yeah, you got that parlay.
Yeah.
My
All right.
secondary one would have been St. Brown. I was torn between DJ and St. Brown, but I'm going to go DJ.
Yeah.
My tight end play of the week is Trey McBride. Wide receiver 6 or whatever.
Yeah, that's hard to
Nice.
argue.
Mine is going to be my mid-tier, kind of shitty tight end of the week at 5,300, Tucker Kraft.
And I'm going to be pairing one of the best tight ends in football over the last month with my quarterback, David Njoku.
Yep.
Nice.
My fantasy defense this week, I'm paying down as it gets. Seattle Seahawks 3,500. Let's ride.
Okay. I'm paying up with the let's see, the top three, the number 3 defense. We got the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
And I'm going with the best value that has been the best value for weeks now. That has been my leading defense in all of my defensive streamer articles. We're going Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are
Ah,
averaging over the last month for 4,400, a defense that's been averaging over the last month 15 points a game for fantasy.
There you go.
Like against the Cardinals, how do you not go with that? I love the Bears so much. They're going to
Okay.
win leagues.
hell
Okay.
yeah.
So, do you guys have your DFS lineups built to go over?
Oh, and just
I
close
do.
it. Hold on. Yeah.
I can go first. I have mine ready and pulled up. Not too surprising. So it's Geno Smith, Chuba Hubbard, Brees Hall, DK Metcalf, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I even snuck in a little Jamison Williams there at 5,200. So it allowed me to pay up. I got Trey McBride at tight end. I went Michael Pittman at flex and the Seahawks defense.
Okay. All right. So I have Jared Goff. I've got Brees Hall and I've got Chuba. I have Amon-Ra. I have DJ Moore. I have JSN. I got Tucker Kraft. I got Tajay Spears and the Browns defense.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
See, this is not like a typical build for me. I feel weird about this one, but I like it a lot too. I got Joe Flacco. My running backs, I got Rashad White and Donta Foreman. My receiver, I did not go DK. I decided to go cheap and get JSN for 5,900 to go with my Jordan Addison. And then I paid 7,000 for Garrett Wilson because that matchup is so good and like it's a boomer bust play, but I'm playing for ceiling here. I got Njoku as my tight end, and then I'm flexing in Derrick Henry along with the Chicago Bears defense. This is going to either be the highest scoring or lowest scoring DFS play, and I don't know which one it will be.
Okay. All right. So I think that's it, right? I think we're good. We covered everything. We got our DFS. We got our bets.
Oh, we're crushing it.
Games start in about an hour and a half. Let's get paid. Let's make some damn money. Regular season's coming to a close in a couple weeks. Let's do it.
Let's keep this
Oh,
heat.
yeah.
Let's keep the heater going.
God
All right.
bless us, everyone.
You there, boy. What day is it?
It's Christmas Day, Mr. Steele / Martin.
Well, I'm fucking Jewish.
I don't
Oh,
like that they say a cooked goose for everyone. Goose is horrible.
yeah, goose is literally the worst bird like they could have
Yeah.
chose. I would
Give me,
rather,
give me, give me duck every time.
Ryan. I would rather eat quail like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know what quail tastes like, so I couldn't tell you. I'm not sure I know what goose tastes like
It's-
either. I do love duck though.
Quail's just like a smaller, like Cornish hen.
right.
Okay,
It tastes like chicken. It's like a pheasant.
I feel like they all taste like chicken.
But literally,
do.
goose is the rabbit
But
of
goose-
the bird.
Yeah, goose is the one that tastes like the most wild and like has a lot of grease. There's a reason they use goose grease for shit.
Okay,
Yeah.
Hey. Grease is a selling point to me.
What food can we give the poors this Christmas? Ah, yes, geese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get all those geese.
They're just rats with wings, so
And before we go, just remember something I pointed out on Farsball that I want to reinforce. Last Christmas by Wham is about donating your organs after you die.
Damn.
That's
Yeah.
canon.
Yeah. That's why it's my favorite.
All right, everyone.
All right.
That's
right.
all we got.
Yeah.
Enjoy football.
all right.